She has worked as a writer for financial and semiconductor products. She had a chance to attend the user-centered analysis workshop conducted by Human Factors International, and now she's a certified user-centered analyst. Over to you, Josephine.
Good morning, everyone. I'd also like to introduce Sudha Tayya. She's co-presenting with me.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Sudha Tayya, and I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. I have 2 decades of experience, of which almost 17 years of experience in technical writing and product content management and all of that. And before I forayed into technical writing, I had a brief stint with media. I worked as a editor with Indian Express and Times of India. So that's pretty much about me. So it's really great to see all of you here. And for that, I would like to congratulate the organizers for doing such a phenomenal job of bringing all of us together in person. Can we give them a big round of applause, please?
Just a second. People who are attending this session in the back, kindly settle down, please. There is a lot of extra noise happening. And for this session, there are some handouts that are being given out in the audience. If you have got one, keep it with you. If you haven't got one, please let us know. We will circulate more. Please keep silent so that we can begin with the session. Thank you.
So before my colleague Josephine takes us through the process and approach of how we create content-centered, user-centered content at ServiceNow, I'll talk briefly about what user-centered content means to us, the groundwork that we do to strategize content, and what's our contribution in the product adoption journey. I manage a team of writers for a business unit called Employee Service Management, which has a suite of products designed for the employees of any enterprise. Now, just like the other leaders in my organization, I also work with certain enablers that actually helps me to come up with a well-rounded content strategy for, let's say, launching a new application or prepping ourselves for the upcoming release. Now, before I get into that, so I would like to ponder for a minute what exactly, why user-centered content? To create, seamless customer experience, isn't it? Now, I'm sure this is one goal that is common to all of us, irrespective of what organization or which organization we are representing here today. For us, user is the center of our content strategy. We look at our business through their eyes, we listen to them carefully, and we observe the behavior of our customers so that to understand the needs and motivations probably we have not, or that have not been spoken yet, or that has not been met yet. And this is exactly where we find our opportunities. Now, this is no secret that understanding user needs is a continuous process. And we also constantly adapt ourselves, leveraging the user data that we have from our research. So this relationship of trust that we have been building with our customers is by minimizing the clutter so that they can navigate through the complex processes easily and addressing the pain points so that they probably, sorry, I was about to fall. And addressing their pain points. Now, as they say, the best way to tell a story is by creating a compelling experience. So, by a show of hands, can you tell me how many of you ever felt overwhelmed by the amount of information that is available on the internet. Right. So I'm sure this is something which all felt. I feel. Oh, sorry. Okay. Can I just go that side because I don't want to. All right. Yeah. So I just don't want to block that. Okay. So I'm sure, so this is something we all feel all the time. So in this, crowded digital landscape, the biggest challenge and also the biggest differentiator is to how to kind of engage with our customers effectively, or how to stay relevant to them. Now, keeping that in mind, we came up with a content framework model that pretty much, stays with our customers in every touch point of their product experience journey. For example, for a prospect or a new user, they probably would be interested in understanding the business value propositions of features. Or for an existing user, they probably are looking for a specific configuration, right? So through our content framework model, it is easy for our customers to locate such information. And that is not all. Just like we can't have same t-shirt size for all, our customers also can't have the same kind of embedded help or in-app help, right? So through our help center, we have actually empowered our customers. Now you may ask, well, how? So we have enabled our customers to personalize their content or their in-app help as per their business needs. So Josephine is going to talk more about the content framework model and the help center in detail. So I'm not sure how many of you have listened to Prithvi from ServiceNow yesterday in Pechakucha. He talked about, and Prithvi and Santosh, they both talked about the research analysis that we do at ServiceNow. So before I get into it, so we measure the content we create. We also measure the content we manage. And we also definitely measure the user impact that we have. So from this slide, or on this slide, I'm going to talk about the third point, which is the user impact. Now, when we talk about user analysis or user analysis research, we think in numbers. We have seen that yesterday when so many speakers showed us the amount of data, the research data in numbers. So the quant or qual, which is quantitative analysis and the qualitative analysis, we put the research data from these two mechanisms together, and then we come up with, let's say, some content strategy. So when we were running a couple of analyses, we realized that the internal search on our doc site was not being optimized. When we put the data from the qualitative analysis through a site intercept survey and the customer feedback and the interviews that we conducted, and when we put the information together, that's when we realized that there was a lot of scope for us to improve in that area. So the content framework model that I just mentioned in the last slide, it's one of those initiatives that we ran after looking at the data from both these analyses. Okay, so go-to-market meetings or GTMs. So this is one table I never got a seat at in my previous organizations, pretty much almost 20 years. So the go-to-market meetings help us to prioritize our deliverables. So this is a team that meets regularly to discuss about what kind of challenges the customer is facing, sorry, and what kind of solution that we are giving, and what kind of marketing and sales pitches we are going out with for new features that are going to be rolled out, or what kind of competitive edges that we have, so on and so forth. Just to give you one example, almost 3 years back, we were prepping ourselves to launch a hyper-automation and low-code product. And just when we thought we had 2 months to go, a decision was taken for an early release. Now, the goal post shifted by almost a month. So we all worked together as a well-oiled machine and ensured that we stayed the course. It was difficult. Everything came down to the wire, but we delivered, and how? Remember that feeling when CSK needed 10 runs of 2 balls at the IPL match? The CSK fans, okay, you don't have to raise your hand. So the last 2 or 3 days to the product launch, we felt exactly the same. When we talk about product adoption journey, there are so many phases to it, but then I have just listed the 3 important phases here. But we are involved from the very beginning. Again, in one of those go-to-market meetings, when one of the product management heads, he reached out to us to be part of their product adoption journey strategy. So the idea was to tap into a customer base of a certain application, and here we are talking about really big numbers. And this is the customer base that was up for license renewals. So the idea was to create some awareness about the new product that we were planning to launch. So after a series of workshops where the outbound PMs were involved, training, marketing, they also joined on and off, and we finalized a content flow that we implemented successfully last month. So this quote pretty much sums up the essence of what we do at ServiceNow. Everything, big or small, is to create an experience for our customers. It's been an honor to present to you on behalf of ServiceNow. Josephine is going to take over from here. She's going to kill me for that. And we are going to take question and answers, questions at the end, if at all we have time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for setting the context, Sudha. So my name is Josephine Sneha, and today I'm going to take you through the rest of the agenda that we have planned. So before we start off, I want to make sure that all of you have your handouts. If you didn't get one, please raise your hands. Our volunteers will come and give you. Yeah, I think there's someone here. Yeah. Keep your hands raised till you get the worksheets, please. Yeah, I'm assuming everybody has had it. Now, this is an incomplete quote. We do not write everything that is developed. I'm assuming all of you here are writers or might have been writers sometime. So if you agree with the statement, please raise your hands. Yes, we all do agree. I mean, most of us agree. So please complete the quote in your respective handouts. We have prizes for you at the end of this session, so the best one wins. I'll give you a minute to do that. We do not write everything that is developed. So what do we write? You can fill it up. Moving on, I want to give you a little background about myself on how I came up with this presentation. Apart from having 10 years of technical writing experience, I'm also a certified user-centered analyst from the Human Factors International Organization. So why did I do user-centered analysis when I was just doing technical writing usually, right? It doesn't go in our line at all. And the certification that I did, they didn't talk anything about writing. There was nothing about writing. The certification was all about the background and the homework that goes into creating an application interface. But when I first joined my career, one of my managers told me that, you just go and give a better user experience, be it writing, be it application development, but learn how the user is comfortable with your content. So I went ahead and did it. And 10 years after that, working with ServiceNow, I realized as writers, we're doing the exact same things that they do as an app developer. I'll show you how. So in the rest of the topics, we'll discuss wearing the user's shoes. As writers, we all know how important it is to know our users, walk in their path, understand their language, and give them what is absolutely needed. User-centered analysis, I'll tell you a little bit about what I learned there and how we put it into practice in ServiceNow. A writer's hats, a writer doesn't do only writing, right? How many of you agree? We wear a lot of hats. And I think we need that confidence. None of the AIs can replace it. You are awesome. And the ServiceNow's ways, how we adapt everything into ServiceNow and how our documentation has changed, how we've evolved. I'm going to show you how we're doing it so you can go back with a new perspective towards writing and something might help you in your respective documentation. Wearing the user's shoes. Knowing your audience, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about knowing your audience? Personas? Yes, we all know about personas. We'll talk a little bit about what personas is. So we need to understand their mindsets, their purpose, why are they looking at our content, and what is their level of knowledge most importantly. Just to give you an example, for example, I'm writing a document for using Swiggy. All of us use Swiggy, right? So the user just wants to know, what am I getting from Swiggy? Am I getting my food on time or wherever I am? Or that's it, that's all he wants to know. But are we giving him information to connect to the Wi-Fi? Is it helpful? No, right? So that is what I understand. So here, as a writer for Swiggy, I'm trying to understand, I'm already assuming that my writer knows that how to connect to the Wi-Fi, right? So these are some questions that we as writers in ServiceNow ask ourselves before writing. So in your handouts, there is some place for you to write down some questions that you might want to ask yourselves in your organizations. I'll be very happy to look through them. But these are the questions that we as writers ask ourselves in ServiceNow. Who are the target audience? Who is looking at your content and why? Right? Who is the audience? What do they already know? Even before giving them information on what do they want to know, we understand what do they already know and why. Why are they looking at your content? Are we giving them some tasks to perform? Is he able to do it? And we are answering some questions. So is it solving their purpose is what we're asking ourselves. Now, yes, we know our audience, we know what they know, we are assuming things about them, but how is it affecting our content that we already have? One, to communicate effectively. Sometimes our audience might just wait to read through the entire paragraph, and sometimes I think just an infographic or maybe an image or a video would suffice, and that should be it. So deciding what part, which information should be relevant at that particular time is what you know when you know your audience. Two, diversity. Audiences are diverse, people are different opinions, different beliefs, different ways to use a tool. So we need to understand and include everyone while we are creating content. For example, while creating this slide, I made sure that I talk to each one of you and not a separate group of people and not inadvertently just missing out on someone, right? It's the same thing while creating content. And most importantly, to be relevant. We have a lot of information that we want to share, right? For example, the same example that I talked about, Swiggy. Can anyone recollect the logo of Swiggy? Yeah? Okay. So the logo of Swiggy is an S that falls into the location symbol. So that means that wherever you are, we are delivering food to you as quickly as possible, right? But as a user, when I go into the Swiggy documentation, I want to get my food on time. I do not want to know how long it took for the developer or the designer to get to the Swiggy logo. I know it must have taken months for them to do it. But I want to know what should I do with that application. Yep, making sense? Yes, thank you. To be relevant, yeah. And all our users, they do not want to read 300 to 400 pages just to get to know who's killing who in fiction, right? They want to get to the information as quickly as possible in less number of clicks. User-centered analysis. Here I'd like to touch a little upon what I've learned there, some of my learnings, and how, at the end, I'll show you how we are relating it to documentation. Personas, we all know, we worked on it. User personas, it's a collection of group of users having similar mentalities, having similar goals. Yeah. So why are we talking about personas and how is it affecting our documentation? We as content creators, we are giving the concept, the abstract concept of a user, we're giving it a person's name or a persona, so we connect to him or her. So we are differentiating them into different user groups with similar goals and characteristics. It is mainly to know our users and our customers more closely, so we attend and give them absolutely what is needed and how they want to use it. To dive a little deeper into the concept of personas, we all know what persona is, how it works, and we all know how it is all connected to our documentation, right? To go a little deeper, there's a concept of mental models. What is a mental model? It is a person's thought process. So with the similar information, a person can interpret information in different ways. It is the way his thoughts are aligned. So here's a very quick example about mental models, very simple one so that the concept is understood in a better way. For example, me as a writer, I'm writing the word table. According to your mental model, according to your space that you're in, you as a user or you are reading my content, you might assume to be, you can take it as a chair and a table, or a rows and a column table. Now, am I writing it wrong? No, I am writing it correct. But are you interpreting it wrong? No, you are absolutely correct. But the point that I want to convey is not in the direction that I want you to understand information. So that is the concept of mental models. How many of you here, again by the show of hands, can I see how many of you use Dita as their authoring tools? Most of us, yeah. Some of them didn't raise their hands, so I'm assuming any other authoring tools. So if I talk about creating a document, telling you who the user personas are and how they're going to use the document and tell you about an application, the ones who are using Dita XML think about creating concept, tasks, or references. Whereas the ones who are not using Dita, they first think about creating the TOC. What is the user wants to know? What is the plan of action? What is 1, 2, 3 tasks? So the information that I'm giving is same, but the way you perceive it as a writer is going to be different because of the mental models. That is how important our content needs to shape up according to the audience's mental models. Yeah, here I'm talking about the writer's hats here. We all know we're not just writers. Here I'd like you to take a break from the PPT and me, of course. Go back to your workplaces, virtually, of course, now that we can do most of the things virtually. Go back to your workplaces and think about one major concern that you might have as a writer, and write it down in your worksheets provided. I'll give you a minute to do that. One major concern as a writer. Here I'll talk about, I'm assuming, yeah, we're done. Are we done? Did my 1 minute go faster? Yeah. So I'll talk about my major concern that I had as a writer when I started off. When I started off with my writing career, I went around asking people for reviews, what is your document all about, what are you talking about, what is the application all about. I went around searching for information, and I felt I wasn't being heard at all. I craved for that, so I craved for that attention as a writer. You know, give me a seat at the table, listen to me when I talk. That is what I wanted as a writer. At ServiceNow, that changed. It was an amazing experience as a writer, and I'm going to talk about why. So my major concern, I wasn't being heard. Everyone, the other teams in the organization think, okay, as product managers, we are thinking about the application. As developers, we are creating the application. What are you doing as a writer? You are listening to all the hard work that we did, and you are just writing about it, right? That is the perception that people have in, I think, most of the organizations. What are you doing as a writer? You are writing everything. I don't think you do anything else other than listen to our story and write it down. Is that what we're doing? No. So here I want to, again, draw a line and show you how writing at ServiceNow and what writers do at ServiceNow, and similarly you can take back and do the same things in your organization to get your seat at your table, to get your voice to be heard. This is the SDLC. We all know the analysis. They design the development, the testing, and the maintenance, right? They have a great team. As writers in ServiceNow, we analyze the application, we interact with the product managers right from the inception of the application. What is the application all about? We also talk to the designers, we talk to the designers to understand how they're creating the application interface. They consider us as writers to be their first users. So they ask us for feedback. Like, we tell them, why is the save button here? I think it should be another place. Maybe they're not able to view it. Maybe we can shift it to another place. So that's the role we play. We don't write. We give them user assistance. We give them messages. We give them suggestions to improve the interface. Next, the TOC. Like the developers, like the designers, we develop TOC, understanding the user needs, understanding his flow. What does he need to see? What does he need to see and when? What does he actually need? Did it take 2 months for a designer to come up with the design? We're not talking about it still. We are just talking about what the users need. Developing content, of course, as writers. We also do the testing, the usability testing. While we are writing documents for ourselves, we impersonate the user in our respective instances, go to the instance and do exactly what the user wants to do. As an admin, in different roles, I can be an admin and do the same task. I can be a user with do the same task as a user. So that's the usability testing. We do it, and we then publish our documents. Again, maintenance. We do we update the document according to how the application updates. We keep it up to date. We have doc feedbacks coming in, and we close them as soon as possible if there are any. So basically, we are doing most of the things. I mean, we wear a lot of hats. I think I like what the STC India has on their homepage. It says, from being just a support service, we are now being an indispensable service, and I really don't think any AI can take your jobs or write for you or understand all of this for you. So here I'd like you to do a small exercise. Now that we've been sitting for long, I know all of you are hungry. I want you all to stand up for a minute. So we do this exercise in ServiceNow when we think we're doing a good job. Now I'd like all of you to do it. Yeah, great, thank you so much. Now raise your right hand. Amazing. I think the ones behind also, everyone can do it. Raise your right hand, put it behind your back, pat your back. You're doing an amazing job. Now turn to the person next to you. Give them a shake their hand. Tell them they're amazing. We are amazing as technical writers. Thank you. You might sit down, please. Thank you. I think if we believe it, then we can also share it in our organizations as well. So yeah, thank you. Now let's see how we do it in ServiceNow. This is all the background, what the writers do. Now we want to show you how all of our learnings that we've had come, are in the ServiceNow documentation site. So we've come up with this concept of the content framework, where we have divided information of the applications into different sections that gives the user exactly what he wants. So, yeah, I'll give you an example maybe later. Now, what is this content framework all about? It is the consistent approach, a consistent framework that we're giving to all our users across products. Why did we come up with this? To give them a consistent experience, of course, through products, and just focus on the user's goals, provide more information that they've asked for, and give them a predictable experience across products, right? Yeah. This is how the content framework looks. We have divided information for each application into these 4 major sections. We can add other sections, maybe again knowing more about the application maybe later. But these are the 4 major sections that we've come up with. Exploring, what can I accomplish with this application? What is it that I can do? What are the business needs that I can solve in my organization? So it's all about the what of the application. Before I get into more details, there's a match the following in your handouts. So while I'm going through this, you can match the following, and you can figure out which topics go into which section. If you get it, our users get it. So, configuring section, how to implement the application, how to get started, the first to do things to do in an application, that is covered in the configuring section. How do I use the application is in the using section, and the reference section for any more information about the application, like forms, user roles, components, or any other good to know information that you can have. So this is how the application homepage for the documentation application homepage looks in docs.servicenow. If the application that I'm writing for has integrations or other things that I'd want to highlight, I'll add another section in there. So that's a consistent experience that we're giving to the users. This is an example of one application where I have penned down to give you an example of what kind of topics go into which sections of the application for easy navigations. For the exploring section, this is how it looks, some of the prioritizing and the information that the business needs that the application caters to. The configuring section, again, like I told you, all the setup process and everything that we've done. This is the using section where we're talking about how to use certain features in your application and more details about the application. And this is the reference, more information, forms and fields and all of that. This looks good, but how is the user using this? Like, how is the user using it? How is he benefiting from this approach? You might be thinking, what is going to happen? So just in case I am an existing user of ServiceNow, just in case I am using ServiceNow's products, one product, and I am thinking about, I know how to use it, I know what it's all about, I know that it caters to my business needs, I know everything about it, but I'm just stuck in a single task that I want to complete, and I have a deadline for it. So me as a user, I will just go into the application homepage and quickly navigate only to the using section and not go into any more details of the application. I'll quickly navigate only to the using section, find what I need, get information quickly. Similarly, for the reference section, maybe I don't have information about a form, maybe I need an information about a small field in an application. I need not go through the entire documentation to find it, or even search in the search tab, but I will look at the reference section. I know where it is, whichever product I'm using. I know I'll go to the reference section, and I know which form that I want, and click directly on it to understand the form fields. So that's how we are reducing the number of clicks that the user needs to getting to the relevant information. This is the workflow approach. So that was an application homepage that I showed. This is the workflow approach. Even if a user does not know which application he needs or he doesn't know about his application, with the workflow, only by knowing what he wants to do, only by knowing his task, he can go to the application page and navigate to the respective application. As you can see here, the users come to the flow designer page, and again, we're coming to the content framework. So this is the task flow. This is hyper automation and low code. Like Sudha mentioned, one of our applications where we're using task-based content approach. Here, the user does not know what they need. So they go to the respective application only by understanding what they want. So apart from having the content framework and the new approach towards writing, we also have the in-product help, like the online help that we all usually call it to be. The in-product help in ServiceNow is now been modified to include tables, images, GIFs, videos. So again, the user does not have to open another new page, open docs.servicenow in another instance or in another web page and view information. But he can, if he's stuck at one particular task, he can quickly go to the online help and view information right in the same page. Like Sudha has already mentioned, we are also giving the users the ability to change the in-product help according to their business needs. Now you must be thinking, okay, they're giving in-product help in their instance itself. Why will the users even look at the documentation site, right? I mean, are you thinking like that? Yeah. So yes, the users, we also have an ability to give them related links. So if they want to read more information about that particular application, that particular page and the task that they are in, they are free to click on the related links, which will again navigate you to the documentation site that we have. These are some key takeaways that I want you to go away. I know you've got loads of information in the 2 days of the conference, but some key takeaways from this session. Knowing the audience, understand your customer goals, understand their mindsets, understand what they need at the right time. Wearing your hats, remember to wear your hats. Do not forget to change them. Do not forget to show them off. That's important. A sneak peek into the new approach. I hope it helped you. If you want me to get back to you, and you can write your email IDs. If you have more questions or anything that you want to discuss, you can write your email ID and we'll reach out to you in the sheets that you have. We will collect them at the end of this session.
So thank you, Sudha. Thank you, Josephine, for such a wonderfully interactive session.